Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make ice spear, low life cast on quick gloves. It's quite simple, but I know crafting is kind of complex for people, so we're going to should be emulating how to craft these. So first thing we're going to want to do is go to the trade site, or you can go to the Temple of Atsuwaddle and find them yourself from fighting the vault boss. But you're going to want to find gloves with cold resistance and percent increased damage with hits against chilled enemies. It is a Val Temple mod. Okay. And then you're going to want these gloves to have just any other random mods, right? Like this. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that this roll is decent. The increased damage, you want to make sure that's decent. If it's not a good roll, what you can do instead of divine rolling it is you can use the harvest benchcraft and you can swap your resistances on the harvest benchcraft from cold to lightning. You can see it changed the mod, and then you can change that back lightning to cold and it'll change it back, and you can keep doing this until you get a good roll. Cold to lightning, lightning to cold, cold to lightning, lightning to cold. There you go, 49%. Next thing you're going to want to do is fracture it. So you need 4 mods on it. You're going to try and fracture it. Okay, cool. We hit it first try. Obviously, if you don't hit it, you have to start over. You can use Hinakora's Lock as a way to foretell how it's going to go. If that saves you currency on fracturing orbs, I think fracturing orbs are currently worth more than a Hinakora's Lock, so that's something you can do. Once you're at this step, now we want to take essences, and we'll go and buy Essence of Woe. Deafening Essence of Woe, and you're going to want to spam until you see tier 1 increased energy shield. So we're just going to spam till we see tier 1 increased energy shield. So we're looking for this mod right here, but we want it to be tier 1. That's tier 2. So close. Tier 7. That's tier 1 hybrid. I don't know the exact odds on this roll, but it is kind of tough to hit. But eventually you will hit the mod. And I think Essences of Woe are pretty cheap right now. I think it's like 1 div for 26 of them. So you can typically do, there it is. You can typically do this with like 5 or so div worth. So now what you want to do is you're going to want to craft on prefixes cannot be changed. So we have filled suffixes, so we actually have to annul. Okay, we annul the suffix, so now we can add prefixes cannot be changed. And from this point, we would want to do an ashling. Now, something else you can do is just do a Veiled Chaos Orb. You have a risk of 6 modding your item, but since this is an Eldritch craft, you can... Since it's an Eldritch craft, you can do Eldritch Orb of Annulment to safely remove the 6 mod if you 6 mod brick. And we're looking for a Veiled Prefix. So we have to prefix lock again and try again. There we go, Veiled Prefix. Now we can unveil. And what we're looking for is +2 AoE. No, we didn't hit it here. So what we're going to have to do is take any of these and YOLO annul. We missed. So if you miss, you have to start over. You have to essence spam again, but we're going to just undo to speed up the process. Okay. And then we prefix lock again. We get veiled prefix, we unveil. plus 2 AoE. There we go. Since it's a 3 prefix setup, you can't block on the bench. So you just kind of have to do it until you find it. Okay, now we have our prefixes done and one of our suffixes done. Now what we can do is we can do Eldritch crafting. So what we want to do is we want to roll our suffixes. We're trying to get, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing low life, you want to go for chaos resistance. You might want to go for attack speed if you're going for that. Maybe just any other resistance. Maybe you want dexterity, but the process is pretty much the same for all of these, where you go Lesser Eldritch Ichor to make Eater of Worlds the dominant member. And then we can do Eldritch Exalted Orbs. And we can do 2 of these, and then we can Eldritch Chaos to scour them out. And then Eldritch Exalted again. Eldritch Chaos. Eldritch Exalted. Eldritch Chaos. Exalted. Eldritch Chaos. Now, when you're doing this, you can say Eldritch Chaos and block if you're only going for 1 mod. So, say like we have none here. And we want, let's say we want dexterity. Now, if you're going for chaos resistance, it might be cheaper to just prefix lock again and reforge chaos. So I'll go over that here. What you can do is you can go prefixes cannot be changed. And then you can do harvest crafting, reforge chaos. And we got tier 6. So we lock again, we do it again. Tier 6 again. Tier 2, okay, we like some people might settle for that, but basically you just lock and reforge until you hit tier 1, which is only like a 1. It's like a 1 in 7, I think. We got kind of unlucky there, but now we have our chaos res, and then we can bench on our last suffix. Say we want to do critical crit chance with global Ellie. There you go. Now we have that bench craft. And these are our explicits done. And then for implicits, it's very simple. All you got to do is go, and we want to do Grand Ichor first. And we're going to roll for cold penetration. Cold exposure, that is. Now, there's a lot of mods in this pool, so you do have to probably get a fair amount of these till you find what you're looking for. There we go, we got it. Now we want to use Grand Ember to just add a mod here, and then we want to do Orb of Conflict. Okay, and then we want to do Grand Ember again. Orb of Conflict. The higher the tiers are, or the closer the tiers are to each other, the higher chance you have of upgrading the right one. There we go. Now it's perfect. And then we just spam Grand Embers until we find Unnerve. Intimidate, almost. Extinguish, not quite. Unnerve, there we go. And there's your gloves done. So it's a pretty basic, straightforward craft. Basically, start with gloves, fracture the increased damage with hits against chilled enemies. Essence of Woe spam for tier 1 increased energy shield. And then you just lock your prefixes so that they don't change and then you can either Veiled Chaos or use an Ashling. So what an Ashling is it's a service you can get from TFT, but it's also something you get from the Syndicate League in PoE. And what she does is she removes a mod and then adds a veiled mod. So what she would do is she would remove the prefixes cannot be changed mod and add a veil. The reason I suggest doing Veiled Chaos instead is because you have a chance of getting a veiled suffix instead of a veiled prefix. So you're probably going to have to do a lot of these ashlings or these unveils. And so to save currency, you should probably be using a veiled chaos instead of paying 2 divines for ashling. Plus, you can always safely remove a suffix to keep yourself from locking or bricking the item. And then after that, it's quite simple. You either prefix lock, reforge chaos, or you do what I was doing before, where you just you Eldritch Chaos, Exalt, Eldritch Chaos, and then you can like bench on. I don't exactly know what the highest weighting is here, but I'm just gonna say it's probably like Dex or something. So you would bench on Dexterity, and then you would Eldritch Exalt. And it just, what blocking does is it increases your chance of finding a mod that isn't the high weight mod. And then you can Eldritch Chaos again and craft it on again. And then Eldritch Exalt again. Eldritch Chaos. You can keep doing this until... Now, another thing you can do is if you're doing this bench method, you can Eldritch Exalt, and then you can remove the bench craft, and then you can Eldritch Annul, and then you can do it again and keep doing that. This might be more economical. I use Eldritch Chaos when I'm trying to go for 2 mods, but if you're trying to go for 1 mod, this is an easy way of doing it. Look, there's tier 1 accuracy. Maybe you wanted that for your build. Maybe you're running like a cost breeze or something, and then you can always change the benchcraft back to elemental damage with crit. Tier 1, there it is. And now you have like accuracy for these gloves. So that's the gist of it. It's a really simple craft. Hopefully you learned something. I'd say the most expensive part of the build of this craft is the fracture. After you hit the fracture, the rest is pretty cheap, especially with how cheap Eldritch currency is right now. I hope you enjoyed learning something about crafting cast on crit gloves, and hopefully you can use this in practice in game. All right, thanks for watching.